so proud to be able to invite the Scribs Spelling Bee champion, Monica Chowdhury, to our classroom.
That is correct.
Monica Chowdhury? You won the spelling bee. You're like a legit celebrity.
I guess.
You are both connected by a deep love for your mother. Loin versus like Farhan and Zoya.
Farhan and Zoya?
They are a brother-sister Bollywood power duo.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Google it, you f***ing fools!
You can't just take care of people your whole life without taking care of yourself.
You're pathetic. You got nothing else to do than live at home in your mom's basement and be with little kids in your spare time.
I don't live in the basement. I'm on the second floor. I have my own bathroom. You know that. Why did you come back?
It was never good enough for you. Sonny protected you for so long. Maybe it's your turn to protect him.
We promised each other that we would get out of this boring-ass town and do big things.
Ladies first.
I don't see any ladies. All I see is a badass bitch.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to the 206. My name is Mark, coming to you as always from Seattle, Washington. And this is the season 2 premiere of the Changing Directions interview series. Joining me is the one and only Sujata Day, director of the award-winning movie Definition Please. Sujata, welcome back to the 206.
I actually wasn't aware it was the premiere, so this is very exciting. I love
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, 2 years in a row, the premiere episode.
I know. Wow, I feel really special.
Oh, it's awesome. Thanks for being here. Now, again, like I said, I say welcome back because a year ago, as we just mentioned, you and I had a conversation on my podcast at the time. Definition Please had been in a few film festivals. We were a year into the pandemic, and we really didn't know what the future held for your movie quite yet. So before we go into what's happened since then, let's talk about the movie itself. Definition Please is your first feature film as a director, and it's inspired by your own life experiences as a first-generation Indian American. So let's start there. Sujata, what did it mean to you to get this story, a very personal story, on film and out to the world?
For me, it all started from my experiences as an actress in Hollywood and the roles that I was auditioning for over the past few years. And they were very stereotypical and they were one note. And it was it was a moment where I was reading an audition and I was like, oh, I knew what the character was going to be before I even read the sides or read the pilot. And I was like, I just feel like there's me and my first generation Indian friends. We all have these immensely different stories of growing up in America. And so I wanted to just show a really normal portrayal of a South Asian American family in the suburbs of Pennsylvania. Could be almost any town, Pennsylvania, or any town, America. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to portray us as non-stereotypes, as people who have issues that don't have to deal with culture or race, and that we deal with universal issues that people of all races deal with. And that was my goal, just to normalize Indian Americans, Asian Americans, and in a very real and grounded way. And I hadn't really seen that on film before.
Right, no, that's very true. And one of the things I love about the movie, how it's lighthearted, there's a lot of great comedy, but you're not afraid to tackle some heavier topics like mental health, bullying, stuff like that. So was that something you were really mindful of from the very beginning of writing the story?
I definitely was. I think growing up in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, a lot of my friends dealt with mental health issues and mental illness. And these are Indian American friends. And our parents didn't really realize what was going on, and their parents would ask us, oh, why did he run away from home? Like, what happened? You know, he gets straight A's, he's in all the AP classes, he has a roof over his head, and there was no, like, therapy never came up. That wasn't in the vocabulary. And so I really wanted to show this other side of, in Indian American culture and Asian American culture, a lot of the mental health stuff is a secret that is within the family, and it's not talked about freely. And I wanted to bring it out in the open. And I hope when families watch this movie together, it sparks a conversation about, especially during the pandemic, have you been feeling alone? Have you been feeling anxious? Have you been feeling depressed? And I think it's all about just starting that conversation.
Oh, absolutely. That's a really good point. And also, I noticed if you look up and down the cast and crew list, it's filled with so many creators and artists from diverse backgrounds. So was that also something that you were looking for as you were putting your teams together?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I wrote the script, and it's a South Asian American family, who are the lead characters. So that was a given that was going to happen. And then I am friends with so many talented performers and comedians, and I wanted them to be in the movie, and I knew that they would be perfect for it. So I texted them, and I'm so grateful that they said yes and came out to my hometown to shoot this little movie and have fun on set. I don't know if in terms of some of those characters, maybe they didn't have to be Asian American, or maybe they didn't have to be Indian American, but I just picked the best person for the role.
Right. No, that's great. Thank you for going into that for a moment. Now, Sujata, your character, Monica, I love how, we know she's a spelling bee champion. So I love how she breaks into these kind of stylized moments of spelling out big words in her head. It, to me, is almost like a kind of a hidden superpower that she has. So was that kind of the idea behind adding that type of stylization into her thought process?
That was part of the idea, but part of it was also, you think that the mental health issues lie with this one character, with Sunny, but obviously Monica is dealing with her own mental health issues as well, in terms of stunted development and not being able to move on from certain things or events in her life. So I wanted to create a light technique to illustrate that. And so it was really fun for me to play with those words, that she's still pretty much living in that moment in time where she reached the pinnacle of success when she was 8 years old, and she's still holding on to that moment. And that's part of something that she has to learn to get over in the film.
That's a really good point. I actually didn't think of it that way. So that adds more depth to those moments in my mind. So thank you for explaining that. Now, there's a scene where Monica, who we've now established has a superpower, and her brother Sonny put on a show for their mom, and she mentions a multiverse. So we know Marvel is getting ready to debut Kamala Khan's Ms. Marvel character. So when can we expect Monica Chowdhury to also make her MCU debut in the multiverse?
I mean, Marvel, I am available. I'm available to play her friend, her cousin, her confidant. I'm really excited for that series to come out. One of my good friends, Mira Menon, directed a few of those episodes.
Oh, wow.
And so that it's really exciting. I think this is a really amazing moment for South Asian American filmmakers in general, and we're finally starting to be seen and to get our stories out there. So it's just exciting to be kind of a part of that movement.
No, absolutely. And it was just something that caught my attention when I rewatched the movie last night, because multiverse has become such a popular word now, and superheroes and everything. So I thought that really caught my attention. I'm like, could Monica make an appearance? So thank you for indulging me with that one. Now, speaking of superhero caliber women, Issa Rae has been a big influence and inspiration for you, both as a creator and as a friend. So tell me about your relationship with her and the impact she has had on both you as a filmmaker and as a person, and any influence she might have had on how you made this movie.
I mean, we're coming up on our 11-year anniversary of Awkward Black Girl, which is wild. We celebrated our 10-year last year, virtually, obviously. And she's been a huge inspiration. She's the reason why I really honed my specific point of view in terms of my writing, and and chose to really focus on writing about the South Asian American experience. And it's just been a really amazing friendship. She's awesome. I love what she's done with Insecure in terms of it is, I think it will go down as an incubator for so much talent, and the writers and the directors and the actors that are coming out of there and going on to other incredible projects. Just is a testament to Issa's eye for talent and not being afraid to give people their first chances. And so that's really exciting. And I want to follow in her footsteps in terms of Asian American talent as well, and helping them.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Now, what has the last year been like for you, since we talked almost exactly a year ago? So between then and now, what has it been like for you navigating film festivals, virtual, in person, just the ongoing pandemic and everything else the world has been throwing at us? Like what's this last calendar year been like for you in the film industry?
I mean, it's been wild. I think the film industry in general is going through a huge major state of upheaval. And I think when we were going out to distributors, they were asking the questions, do you want to bow in theaters, or do you want to do the other thing? And I said, well, I don't want to put anyone's lives in danger. So I think what's happening right now is really great. I was very creative over the last year. So I've been pitching shows. I've been working on my next feature film that I will also shoot in Pennsylvania. Excited to go back. And I'm just excited to tell more stories, and that's what keeps pushing me forward. And I recognize that the country and the world is in a really, dark place. And I just hope that people out there are taking the time to relax and rest, and maybe take those breaks from social media as you need to, so that you're not constantly looking at negative news.
No, absolutely. And it's so easy to get caught up in that cycle, because I know I use social media a lot for my purposes. You're on social media a lot for your own. So yeah, I think we do need to take a moment and go look at some trees for a while in between all of our sharing and liking and posting and all of that stuff. So thank you. That's great insight on that. Now, you had mentioned Pennsylvania. Now that's where you're from. So you also focused that in your movie. Can you talk about that, making sure that you had a local connection in your movie as well?
I just really enjoyed growing up in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. I had a great childhood. I had so much fun. We were in a place where we rode bikes everywhere, and we got left alone by our parents. And I would just come home when it would get dark and eat dinner and just hang out with, the neighborhood kids. And so I wanted to, I just love writing about that. I love that being the background to a lot of my stories. And I think it's a special, unique background, because you don't really hear that much about the immigrant or first generation experience in those smaller towns and the suburbs. And so that's important for me to highlight.
It was really nice seeing just these kind of neighborhood settings and a small local tavern setting, rather than it being skyscrapers and nightclubs and that type of stuff. So I thought that was a really refreshing thing to show and present in the movie. Now, before we look ahead, I want to take it back a little bit farther, again, to your hometown. And I guess the best way for me to put it is kind of your own origin story as an entertainer. So tell me about your inspiring role in Showboat.
Showboat. Yes, I was cast as a young miss in the ensemble. Definitely not a lead character. Definitely didn't have a name. And I had one line, which I don't remember what it was. And it made the entire audience laugh. And it happened 6 nights in a row. And I think any entertainer or performer will tell you that that first laugh that you get from an audience is addictive, and you continue to chase that laugh for the rest of your life. And to be honest, you asked about in-person screenings, and we had one of our first in-person in theater screenings in November at the LA Asian Film Festival.
Right.
And I didn't know what the audience's reaction was going to be. And I was sitting there, and then the first laugh happened and it was the entire audience. And I was just like, oh my God, the jokes work.
Oh, wow.
I'm shocked because I had been watching the movie over and over. And to me, I'm just like, is it even funny anymore? I don't know. So that was a really special moment. And just hearing that laugh and hearing it over and over as we were all watching the film together was a really special experience.
Now, that's amazing. You're able to connect that screening in November all the way back to, that little bit part that you had and one line that killed the crowd every time. So, just with who you are and your personality and your sense of humor, I get the idea that that's something you'll continue doing, time and time again as you move forward through your career. So now, moving, as I said, moving forward, I'm so happy to say that Definition Please is now on Netflix, thanks to a deal with Ava DuVernay's Array Releasing. And I honestly can't think of a better home for your movie. So what does that mean to you? What are the emotions? What was your reaction when all of that was finalized?
This is all very exciting because I feel like my entire Hollywood career, I have been supported by powerful, strong women of color. And this just kind of continues my streak to that in terms of, Issa Rae, and then Mindy Kaling in the past year came on board as an executive producer. And then Array, Ava DuVernay's company, called and wanted to distribute the film. So it's been this really amazing experience. And I just hope to pay it forward once again to the next generation and be that woman of color that is supporting and pushing the next generation of stories.
No, that's amazing. Like I said, I'm so happy for you. And Sujata, as we mentioned, you were my guest for the premiere episode of the 2021 Changing Directions podcast series. And now here you are again, kicking off season 2 for my YouTube channel. So I just want to say thank you so much. It's my honor, and it's been a pleasure to have you here as part of these conversations.
Thank you so much, Mark. This was awesome.
Thank you so much. The movie is Definition Please. This is Sujata Day. My name is Mark, and this is the 206 Changing Directions interview series. You can learn more about Sujata and her movie by going to sujataday.com. And of course, head on over to Netflix and watch the movie right now. All of my interviews and movie reviews are available on 206.com, including my review of Definition Please. Thank you so much. Be safe and see you next time.